Welcome to the very first episode of 52 plus new books. Can't even get the title right. I'm going to start again.
Sure thing. Just clap it
Welcome
in.
to the very first episode of 52 plus new books. And today we have Junaid. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, try again. Welcome to the very first episode of 52 plus new books. This is so exciting. Very first episode. I have an amazing author with us. Why don't you introduce yourself and introduce the title of your book?
Ellis, I'm so excited to be here, and especially the first episode. Come on, that's very unheard of, mainly because there's so many people that have already started podcasts. Now, I'm an author of the book Seven Stages of Home Studio Evolution. I'm a home studio architect myself, and I've been helping other podcasters and YouTubers and what have you set up their home studios so that they can create content on the whim whenever they're ready in the best way possible.
And I love your background. It's even though it's a little blurred, which is okay, I get it. Whoa, there you go. But you're still visible. We can still see a background so you don't look like you're sitting in an empty room or anything. I mean, it looks
Hmm.
very engaging. The lighting is great. So obviously, I have a lot to learn from you. But
Absolutely.
we want to talk about the book today. Who is this book really for? Who's
It's
the
it's a
ideal
book.
person?
The ideal person is somebody who's on the journey. They took a leap. They're like, you know what? I need to do more video. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a business owner, but I need to do more video to promote not only the business that I have, the products and services that I offer, but also build an authority kind of figure. So the book takes people from the base stage of somebody just using their smartphone to going and using a multi camera studio setup where they can show off all the different things, but not just that, but also have deep, engaging conversations with people that they can bring into their studio spaces.
Nice, nice. I like that. So, what sparked this idea? What made you think that, yeah, I want to write a book about this?
Well, to piggyback on the last question, the reason I broke it into seven stages, so it's seven
Mhm.
stages of home studio evolution, is because as human beings, we are always on a stage or always on a journey, and it might be, a beginning of the journey, it might be ending of a journey, one journey and beginning of another journey. We're constantly growing, we're constantly moving forward. We're always wondering, hey, I want to get to this goal, but then what then after that? So then you're
Right.
on a new journey. So the reason I wrote the book and what inspired me to write the book was I was getting a ton of questions for people all the time. Hey, what camera are you using? What lighting should I be getting? What microphone do you think would be the best one? And technology is ever evolving, but it doesn't mean that you need to have the latest and greatest. That's the power of technology, and that's the power of the gear that's available. Like gear in my office, in my studio, is anywhere from 5 to 6 years old, right? So it still
Okay.
performs really, really well. So if you're were to jump into this stage and be like, hey, I want to be an enthusiast. What gear do I need? So you turn the page, turn to the enthusiast chapter in the book, and it tells you exactly all the gear that you need. And the best part is, a lot of this gear you can buy used, and it'll work perfectly, and create the same high quality image that it's been creating from day one. The reason there's new camera gear, there's new thing coming out all the time is because, well, those are businesses, and they want to bring in new features and new technology in their cameras. One thing that they're still lacking, especially in these large cameras, is uh, AI capabilities. But eventually, we will start to see that because we do know that the smartphones that we use in our pockets, the $1,000 cameras, is where it's at. That's where you want to start using, and they have
Right.
a lot of cool technology. So that's what inspired me. The other inspiration was, I was browsing. I was browsing the what's his name? Robert Kiyosaki's site,
Oh,
Rich Dad
yeah.
Poor Dad, one of my favorite books that I've read in the past. And one of his newsletter was, or his lead magnet, so have you, was 7 levels of an investor. Like, which level investor are you? I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. As I reading this ebook, I was like, this would be a really awesome idea to put towards my business. And that's the
Yeah.
power of, uh, getting access or reading content, reading books, is that
Mhm.
they give you ideas on how you can now rethink or, put it in a structure that's already working for some other people. Now you could put it in
Right.
a structure for yourself as well. So that was inspiration. And that's why I
That's
wrote the book.
awesome. And that's a really good point to bring out too, is yeah, I mean, that's a lot of reason why we write books is to give inspiration to other people.
Hmm.
Um, so how long did it take you to write this book? I mean, some books don't take that long because you've already got all the information. You just need to
Hmm.
compile it. Some
Yeah.
books can take up to 5, 10 years,
Yeah.
some are sitting on the shelf and they're still not published yet. So about, from the time you thought, yeah, I need to write this book to when you actually got it published, about how much time was that?
I would say it took me about 3 months, 3 to 5 months
Okay.
to, put all the content together, bring in all the research, make sure that everything made sense. I had a few
Yeah,
people review the book. I had a few people, comment on it. So I could go back and make sure that it matches and, it's in line with the what the audience is looking for.
right,
It took me
right.
about that amount of time. Plus, I've done over 200 home studio consults, helped that many people set up their studio spaces. So I've already had the answer. Plus, on top of that, for the past 20 years, I've been behind camera taking photos and videos. So
Oh, nice.
I've known the gear, I've known the technology, and now bringing it all together in a book form was the fun part of, okay, now I can, like, hey, get my book. It's going to have all the questions and more that you might be asking me. And then if you have even more questions, I'm always open to, answering them.
Yeah, and that was going to be my next question. It's like, it's wonderful to have a book that has everything in it. It's available to anybody who can get the book. And then you go through it and you read it, and then maybe something maybe really common to you, but maybe I've never heard it before.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, I might need to ask some questions. So that's good to do that.
Yeah.
Um, some of the distractions you had to overcome while you were writing it.
You know, as a father of 4 kids, as somebody who's taking clients' calls, as somebody who's recording podcast episodes, I run a podcast, I run a business, I'm helping other people set up their studio spaces. Those were kind of some of the distractions into keeping it, keep the book going. I would spend, anywhere from early in the mornings to spend time on writing the book and compiling the stuff, or late at night when all the kids are sleeping, and I'm like, okay, now I can spend some time in tweaking the cover, the copy, making sure everything's
Right.
lined up. And then as you're going through the process of self-publishing, all the different things that they're asking. So you know it takes time, but
Mhm.
because I'm so tech savvy and understand a lot of the tech, I mean, I've been in the tech space for many, many years. I was like, hey, this is easy. And then, how do I market it? How do I promote it? Well, I need to
Right.
find ways to show the book. Now, I don't even have the book yet, but how do I show it? Like, this is what the book's going to look like. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of different things that I had to research. And now I can, put a put things together much more swiftly than the first time around.
Okay. And you have your book with you, right? To show us?
I do. Here's
There it
my
is.
book.
There. That's good. I know how to angle it. That's really great. I like that. Yeah, I mean it's one thing that I talk with my clients when we're getting their books written and ready to publish
Yeah.
is you find that one place that you go to whenever it is you decide to do, whether it's every day or one day a week or whatever. And you keep everybody else out. I remember watching a video on YouTube with
Yeah.
Stephen King, and he was talking about when he writes for like 3 or 4 hours at a time. And
Wow.
then he closes the door, doesn't have his phone in there. There's no radio and TV, nothing in there to distract him.
Mm.
And nobody knocks on his door, nobody bothers him unless the house is burning down and he has to get out. That's it. He makes it real clear, this is my time to do my writing. And it makes a big difference. I've
Yeah.
noticed too, and some of my clients have noticed that when you have a specific time, a specific place to do your writing, in a specific day, your mind is already set and ready to go. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to declutter what's been going on through the day and then try to
Yeah.
refocus so you don't lose time to write. It creates a lot more clarity, and that's great. You found 2 times that you can do it in the mornings early and at night. There's a lot of people who do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
No, I
that's
love
really
that. And
good.
that's a really great tip for sure that I can, utilize in the next for the next book. But
Yeah,
what was it really interesting as I'm listening and as I'm, listening to these ideas, I remembered reading books by Matthew McConaughey, the Green Lights, and then
yeah,
Will Smith's book. They went away. They literally went away for 2 years, right, to compile those books because they're like, hey, I'm a working dad, working blah blah blah, but I need to put all the notes together because over the years he's been compiling notes, he's been recording
yeah.
videos, and recording audio. So how do we bring it all together? So it's a great point to say every day from 10 a.m. or 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. is my time. That's when I'm going to be sitting down and writing and remove all other distractions.
Yeah, yeah. And that's when I found was my best time to write. Usually 3 o'clock in the morning, I just wake up and like, oh, I just need to write.
Yeah.
But scheduling it in your day, and that's a good time because it's quiet. The house is quiet. Nobody's woken up yet. The dogs are quiet. They're
Mm-hmm.
not going to bother you. Might be a coyote or two, but that's beside the point. But yeah, but it really does help. The other thing, how did you know? Well, for you, I imagine you knew who you were writing for
Mm-hmm.
because you were helping so many people. So is your book mostly for the podcaster that has already been podcasting and is trying to level up, or can someone who has never podcasted before use your book to get started?
That's a great question. So the book is designed for literally anyone looking to do video in their home, right? So it could be a podcaster, it could be a virtual speaker, it could be a speaker,
Okay.
it could be people working from home, entrepreneurs, CEOs, like no matter who it is, we're all in front of a camera to have conversations with our colleagues, with our clients, with our prospects, with our loved ones, like no matter what, all of these people kind of apply. The reason I focused on podcasting or focused on entrepreneurs is because that's one person that who I am, right? So I
Yeah.
took my journey. I'm like, okay, how have I been using? How am I as telling other people to use? So I took those points into mind before I compile all this together, and it made sense because in it it talks about the 7 stages, right? So each stage we're introducing a new piece of gear. And the
Okay.
reason why you go from one stage to the other is because you want to get comfortable with the first piece of gear that you're starting to use. You want to get comfortable in speaking in front of the camera. You want to get comfortable in, getting into the rhythm of actually doing that one task. And once you're comfortable with one piece of doing the thing, now you can say, okay, I'm going to add another level of complexity and then get better at doing that. So
Mhm.
that's why I broke it down in stages, and those are it's designed for anyone who said, "Hey, I want to create some video content, but how do I do it?" Well, I need to make sure I have the good lighting. I need to make sure I have so all of those things are accounted for as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I know one thing too that I always tell my clients, even the ones who are just asking questions that aren't clients yet. And it's like, how do you know who to write your book for? It says, well, I want everybody to read it. Well, of course we do.
Mm-hmm.
We're putting out great information, but
Yeah.
in order to write your book, to get the focus going, and you already had focus on who you were writing this for,
Mm,
is you have to think of one person only. One person. You know
yes.
everything about this person, their
Yeah.
likes, their dislikes, the food they eat, the clothes they wear, color of their hair, just everything there is to know about this person. And you write to that person, and
Mm,
then everything else will flow. It gives you clarity, it gives you focus, it just lets the words flow out of you because you only have to concentrate on that one person. And then, yes, your book can be for others because you've got this amazingly written book.
mm,
And it just seems to make such a difference because, for me, I not only write children's books, I have anthologies, I write young adult books, I've got a business book. And so I can't be writing my business book to 3 and 4 year olds because it's just not going to work. I might, I don't know, but
yeah.
I'm not going to be writing a business book, for 3 and 4 year olds. At least not unless I'm putting it in terms that they understand. So you
Yeah.
really have to understand who you're writing your book for, and you definitely have done that. So what
Thank
do
you.
you have coming up?
So now that this book is done and people have an idea, okay, this is how I can set up my studio space. Well, what else can I do with my studio space? Well, you
Oh,
can
I
definitely
like
take
that.
your audio podcast to a video podcast. And then, so the next book that's coming up October 18th is a book called The Ultimate Guide to Video Podcasting. And it
I love
takes you
that.
from step one to all the way to step, 10, where you're now ready, and all the philosophies and all the different research that's out there, all the different things that people are experiencing, high growth, and what a video podcast can do for their brand.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, that's really good. I was going to ask you what you want the readers to get from this book, and I'm going to say you want them to really succeed. But what do you want the readers to get from this book?
I want the readers to know that no matter which stage they're in, they are equipped to create good video content. But because people are coming to listen to the message. You've probably seen those reels where it's a black and white video, but it's Jim Rohn talking, and you listen through the entire video because of the message that's given in there. So
Yeah,
he got confident to speak on stage in that manner because he'd been speaking for a very long time. So the
nice.
idea of the 7 stages is to get you comfortable to speak in front of the camera, to
I
get
like
you
that.
acclimated with your own voice being recorded and listening back. It's a lot of those things. So it's mostly internal, what do you call that? It's more personal development than anything else.
Right,
But you're now
right.
using another medium to do that.
Yeah, and I'm got a little bit of a lag here right now because sometimes internet connection is not good. That's that's my biggest enemy, I guess is a way to do it, is when the connection is unstable. You get this little sign that comes up. But yeah, being we're talking a little bit about your next book is I see a lot of people are, I can't say that. It's not a lot of people. There have been a couple of people, and it's something that I wanted to do myself, is to set up a second camera so you have
Hmm.
different shots. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
That's a really good way to, again, differentiate your content, differentiate the
Okay.
look, differentiate the feel of what the audience gets to see, right? So
Yeah.
we have the square end shot, which is kind of normal, kind of regular for people to experience. But the cool part with the technology that we have right now, you can literally, um, so you're probably using a webcam for your main camera. You can literally add in your smartphone to be your
Okay.
second camera angle,
Yeah, that sounds good.
right?
Awesome.
So pretty easy to switch to. If I were to switch on my camera, I can kind of give you a that secondary look from my camera. So in in Zoom, you can easily select from one camera to another camera. It's just gonna There we
Okay,
go.
there we go.
So this
And you
is my
can do
phone
that
camera.
in Zoom itself.
Inside of
Because that
Zoom,
was going to
I'm
be
just
my
switching.
question. How do you
Yeah.
work two cameras? But good.
Yes, I'm just switching
Good.
the camera source from my phone camera to now my regular camera.
Okay. Okay, that sounds great. Thank you so much for being here. How do
Of
people get a
course.
hold of you and where do they get your book? That's more important.
Absolutely. So first thing you want to do is head on over to homestudiobook.com. You'll be presented to my book page where you can see all the different books that are available. And then if you want to find the book on Amazon, of course, follow me on Amazon. Book author, you could find the book there, Seven Stages of Home Studio Evolution. And if you want to connect with me and talk to me about my process and how I got here and all of those fun things, you can reach out to me at Super Junaid on any social media platform. And of course, I also have a podcast, hacksandhobbies.com, where I've interviewed over 500 guests, and Alice Patrick will be coming on pretty soon.
Yay. Yay. Thank you so much for being here and hold your book up again so everybody can see it right at the end. That's for those who have the video, Seven Stages of Home Studio Evolution. I love that. Thanks so much, Sinead, for being my guest today. And we'll see you, our audience, or you'll see us on the next episode of 52 Plus New Books.